How's it going, everybody? So in this video, we are going to be discussing the differences between performance-enhancing drugs, or what most common people generalize as steroids. We're going to compare that to tonic herbs, okay? Tonic herbs, we're talking cordyceps, we're talking also adaptogenic herbs like rhodiola and ginseng, which is more so a tonic herb. And I don't really like the label adaptogen, but anyway, all the herbs that we can classify as having performance enhancing qualities to them, but are more so made for regulating the stress response, improving health in multiple other areas, while also kind of just improving the quality of your general well-being and improving your baseline level of energy, recovery, and stress over a long period of time. Tonic herbs, adaptogens, whatever, okay? We're going to be comparing anabolic steroids, performance-enhancing drugs of all kinds, okay? That includes things that improve, neurology and things that make you more aggressive to attack heavy weights or, attack your opponent in the ring. All of those things. Okay, we're gonna be comparing that to tonic herbs. Now I know that this sounds like a really ridiculous comparison, and I agree. It is a ridiculous comparison. However, when you understand that the context of this discussion was triggered by or caused by some random guy who randomly followed me on Instagram a couple weeks ago, and then he had replied to one of my posts where I shared the current herb stack I'm taking that I believe is like the most effective herb stack I've ever found and combined. And I'll make a whole nother video talking about that here in a little while. But he replied to it. So when you understand the context where this came from, then it'll make a lot more sense, okay? Because obviously the whole point of this video is that performance enhancing drugs, PEDs, steroids are completely different. They should not completely different intentions, completely different effects, everything compared to something like tonic herbs. It's funny. But I'm not the one who made this initial comparison. But this is actually a very important thing to discuss. So you'll get a lot of good golden tidbits in this video. So let's kind of get into it. All right. So first, I posted something on my Instagram stories, sharing nettle root, pine pollen, rhodiola, polyrachis ant, and cordyceps. And I said, this is absolutely the most powerful, life-changing herb stack I've ever experimented with in 11 years of quote-unquote biohacking. Because I hate that term. In 11 years of biohacking experimentation, this is the winning combination. On top of my extremely obscure diet protocol, libido, energy, motivation, athletic performance, sleep, endurance, mood, it really is a night and day difference. To be honest, though, I believe it's the nettle root, rhodiola, and cordyceps that really make the most difference. Anyone who's read the research on these herbs knows exactly why I use these combined together. They all have very specific synergistic mechanisms on sex hormone-binding globulin, androgens, and ATP synthesis, as well as blood markers for general health. And the guy replied, he's like, at that point, just take steroids, LMFAO, ha ha ha. And to me, that's just the most ridiculous thing you can say. And it's definitely coming from somebody who has no idea what, the history of tonic herbalism, the history of each of these herbs that all have their own lore, as well as the research on each of them and what their main intention really is. And for me, I was just like, I already know what state of consciousness this is coming from. And it's funny because this guy, I don't know who he is, but on his Instagram, he has a gorilla next to his name. Who the fuck does that besides a wannabe alpha male? And I hate that term alpha male, but when you put a gorilla next to your name, to me that implies that you are trying to portray an image of a silverback. And of course that type of person is going to be trying really hard to reinforce that image through inauthentic behavior. That's why I don't like the pseudo self image that people try to portray. Like, I'm alpha, I'm a tough guy, I'm a silverback, or whatever. It's just ineffective, and it just makes you look bad, in my opinion. And we're gonna see that here in a bit. Like, these people are usually very insecure and fragile, but here it goes. So for me, I didn't expect this guy to actually want to have a conversation. It sounds like just a random internet troll who's just being stupid. So it's like, well, that's a stupid, intellectually lazy statement to make, because it is, And then he's like, actually, it's not. Some people will go as far as to take 20 plus pills per day and supplements just to not touch what known as steroids, even though the line between natural and not natural is so blurred that I bet you can't give me a clear-cut differentiation without me being able to disprove its validity. Initially, I said it as a half joke, but you want to give an attitude. I'm right here. I can prove my point if you want her. And so I thought that at this point he actually wanted to have a real conversation, because he made some valid points. It's just that he doesn't understand where I'm coming from. So he's making arguments that literally have nothing to do with what it is that I am intending for in my post on my herbs. So I don't know if maybe this guy just, typically they read a lot of internet forums and watch a lot of videos and heated debates on the subject. And they usually are the type of people that argue in the internet comments. And so they have this, they're triggered, anything that sounds remotely related to the things that they're mad about or arguing about in their head, they automatically assume that that's, something they got to attack. So, anyway, at this point, I didn't realize it, but he actually had blocked me. Why would you block me? He's like, I'm right here. I can prove that you're wrong. And then he just blocked me. Why the hell would you? He could have unfollowed me, sure. But he blocked me. And remember, this guy has a gorilla next to his name. So he's supposedly some kind of silverback alpha male dude. At least that's what I'm assuming. But I might be wrong. You blocked me after that. And, for me, I didn't know what the hell was going on. I'm always extremely busy, so I don't really even have time to respond until way later in the day. But anyway, so I was like, all right, I agree that people tend to waste money and energy on extremely complicated nutraceutical stacks that generally don't do anything beneficial, right? I always talk about these biohacking people that spend, thousands of dollars in supplements per month, and they have all these pill bottles and shit, and their pantry looks like a apothecary, like mine does, right? It looks like a damn supplement store. And they don't really get much benefit from any of those things. And usually it actually makes them worse off. And usually these people are also starving themselves with these intermittent fasting protocols. And they don't even have enough money for food because they spend it all on biohacking supplements. So I agree with him on that regard. I speak out against this extensively. I always make videos ranting about this. However, the reason I say your statement is stupid is because you're clearly speaking from a perspective that doesn't understand the herbs I mentioned or their purpose. Steroids generally cost a couple $1,000s a month. And I really don't know how much steroids actually cost, but from what I've heard, that's how much they cost. And it depends on what you're taking. And they have extreme negative side effects on health. They tend to cause a lot of health problems. PEDs and steroids also ruin natural reproductive function. And these herbs I mentioned here, they cost 10 times less than steroids do for the highest quality, legit, top shelf brands that actually work. They also actually improve health, and people generally take these tonic herbs to regain reproductive function. In fact, some of them, like maca root, Panax red ginseng, pine pollen, tribulus, these are usually taken as a post-cycle therapy after someone's been doing PEDs for a while to help the body regain hormonal homeostasis after an intense cycle of PEDs. And you know, these herbs, some of their main claim to fame as far as like hormones and reproductive health is, in studies, they have not been shown, a lot of them, some of them have, but a lot of them, they have not been shown to improve testosterone or anything like that in men that don't already have low testosterone. Like men that are healthy and have, you know, fine reproductive health and stuff, they don't see a bump in their hormones or anything like that from things like Tribulus. However, and men with low T or hypogonadism or infertile men, there's a lot of evidence for many of these herbs that shows men who have low reproductive function or low testosterone that these herbs can help bring them into the healthy range. And, you know, when bodybuilders or powerlifters or whoever come off of PEDs and they have to take a post-cycle therapy, these are some of the herbs, especially things like Tribulus and DIM, which is like it's a molecule that is found from indole-3-carbinol from broccoli. It's not actually found in broccoli, but it's created from a compound found in broccoli. But anyway, they take these things to get their hormones back into the healthy range, or at least to manageable levels, and to offset a lot of the, the low hormonal side effects when they come off of steroids. So, and you know, when you take things like Tribulus and maca, not everybody, but a lot of people, you see a lot of testimonials about this, and I can attest to it. When you take things like Tribulus and maca, it will make you feel way more horny, more aggressive, and more motivated. And there are some non-responders, and some people do notice a tolerance after a while. And so my point, though, is that, and also there's not only evidence that these herbs can improve fertility in people with low fertility or low testosterone, but also first of all, I have actually had one time where I got my ex-girlfriend pregnant. We're both taking Tribulus and maca at the same time. And otherwise, I had never gotten a girl pregnant before. I'm very careful. And so that's the first thing. And I don't know how to get into that. Second thing is there's a lot of people all over the internet. I know people say, oh, anecdotes don't matter, blah, blah, blah. But you commonly see people with actual paperwork where their doctor insists that they are infertile and are not capable of conceiving children. And then after a couple of months of taking maca, these women get pregnant, even though they were diagnosed as infertile a couple months before that. And so I'm just saying that not only do we have thousands of years of documented, books and literature with lore behind these herbs bringing the body into hormonal homeostasis, but we also have studies now, especially on rats, and we have lots of anecdotal reports and my own experience as well. So yeah, science, thousands of years of lore and traditional medicine textbooks on the subject, anecdotal experiences and research. So, people who say, oh, herbs don't do anything, or herbs are this, or herbs are that, they're usually the type of person that wants to believe that steroids are all that there are, and pharmaceutical drugs are the be-all, end-all. And that, there's no alternative, and if you're paying money for alternatives, then you're less than me. Like, oh, you're intellectually inferior because, you're not using my pharma-driven steroids and this and that. Not to say steroids are all pharma-driven, but you get the picture. They want to believe that if you're not doing steroids and this and that, then you're stupid and all this other crap. They haven't actually read the research on herbs. They don't want to believe that they work because they're against their whole identity and paradigm, especially this silverback gorilla wannabe motherfucker. Anyway, so yeah, The difference is steroids and PEDs completely ruin a human's natural hormonal function, as well as their triglyceride levels, their blood glucose tolerance, their HDL. And these herbs do the opposite. These herbs improve blood markers of health, triglycerides, HDL, especially blood glucose tolerance. Things like ginseng do all of that. Improve hormonal health, and yada yada. So steroids ruin your natural health and natural reproductive function to where now you have to take all these pharmaceuticals for blood pressure and things to manage them. Herbs do the opposite. They actually help you and improve all these qualities. And so the other thing is, a lot of these steroid users will say that no, the dangers of anabolic steroids and PEDs are exaggerated and overblown. It's all part of the stigma. And it's true that a lot of the media and the news and stuff has overblown and exaggerated some of the dangers, the side effects of steroids and whatnot, and made it sound worse than it actually is. However, the side effects and the negative health effects of steroids and PEDs are very, very real. And you will see a lot of PED users come out and talk about this. There's a lot of podcasts and videos from people I really respect who are transparent about it. I've seen Dr. Mike Israetel, who is one of those people who's like pro-pharma, and he's against a lot of, well, he sounds like, he demeans a lot of natural substances, but he has a very unbiased approach, and he tries really hard to be balanced about it. And he has videos on the side effects. And they're very real. Apparently, they make a lot of people feel like crap. And there's another guy, Izzy Navarez, who is now he was a founder of a channel called Powerlifting to Win, which is an amazing channel going in depth on program reviews and stuff for strength training. Anyway, this guy is now a steroid user after years of being a natural powerlifter. And he's made plenty of videos talking about this. And he does free Instagram question and answers all the time. And he says, look, don't freaking use steroids unless you really want to commit to a lifetime of all the other crap that comes with it. Because once you make that jump, there's no going back. And, it does not make you feel like Superman. In fact, oftentimes these things make you feel like absolute garbage. They ruin your sleep. Blood pressure, and if you don't have every other aspect of your lifestyle on check, nutrition, your blood pressure, you're not getting your blood levels checked all the time. Usually you have to get a CPAP after a while, and also hypertrophy of the heart and other things that can happen. Not to say it's necessarily bad, because there's like runner's heart and stuff that might be healthy, but it's some real shit. It's taking a plunge, man. Like, once you do steroids, there's no going back after a couple of weeks. It's a lifetime decision, and there's a chance that you will never have normal reproductive function again, okay? Anyway, right, so it's like, I might as well do steroids according to this idiot. Okay. And he blocks me. This is why you should not assume people who disagree with you are just automatically stupid, because then you end up in a blind spot just assuming that you know what the fuck you're talking about, when in reality, your perception is extremely fuzzy and wrong. Okay? Anyway. So yeah, herbs are not like that. You don't just take a tonic herb or a stack of tonic herbs and your life is just completely fucked forever. You're relying on these tonic herbs. You have all these negative side effects and all this other crap. No. So anyway, herbs like rhodiola also have benefits for improving ADHD symptoms. And that's something that a lot of people talk about. Like, you look at that guy Mike Dougal or whatever from Nootropics Reviewer, I believe, on YouTube. And he always talks about how rhodiola is like a nap and a pill, and it helps improve ADHD and all this stuff. Lots of people have found that rhodiola improves their focus and attention and energy and their ADHD symptoms. It's one of its most claim to fame benefits in nootropic communities. And rhodiola can also help to improve symptoms of sleep deprivation. Cordyceps has a lot of evidence showing it seems to improve ATP recycling. And it does have evidence showing, combined with reishi, it can improve the testosterone to cortisol ratio in elite level endurance athletes over a 16-week macro cycle of training. Polyurachus black ant contains unique dopamine precursors helpful for people with depression, and the list goes on. I mean, there's a whole lot of other benefits of polyurachus ant. It also seems to have ATP precursors as well, and lots of zinc and other nutrients in it. People have been taking it alongside ginseng to nourish the physical body as well as the energetic state in neurology for years. It's a rejuvenating, nutritive Jing tonic. It's amazing. And the list goes on of all the other benefits for these herbs, like panic ginseng, rhodiola, ashwagandha, which is a fuzzy subject to get into because it has different effects for different people depending on the type you take. Lots of these things: blood glucose regulation benefits, appetite suppression benefits in some people, improving endurance and ATP recycling, and insomnia and sleep. People take ashwagandha to relax, anti-anxiety effects, help them sleep. Maca root and Panax red ginseng to help restore hormonal homeostasis. Some people take ashwagandha to help improve their thyroid. So I mean, and people with disorders in the circulation system could take cordyceps or Panax red ginseng to help restore that. Nettle root extract. There's a lot of people with benign prostate hypoplasia, and inflammation in the prostate and whatnot. And they'll take nettle root extract to help restore that, and remove and remove the inflammation in the prostate, or calm it down, whatever. Some people believe it acts on DHT for that purpose. But the point is, there's a lot of really solid medicinal benefits of these herbs, and so these herbs are generally taken and have been taken for thousands of years to build health and improve daily energy and well-being while doing so, whereas steroids have extremely negative side effects, usually contributing to deadly health problems and cost 10 times more. And steroids' intention is to improve performance dramatically, trading off for negative side effects. Furthermore, some herbs, for example rhodiola, tend to have far more robust weight of research behind it, at the very least supporting its safety profile, whereas a large quantity of PEDs do not have research supporting its safety profile, as evidenced by the large amount of enhanced athletes dropping dead out of nowhere. PEDs and steroids, complete opposite health effects. So the point here is that steroids have completely different aims of use. Okay? So most people don't take herbs and whatnot, tonic herbs, to get the same effect of steroids. Like if you take someone who's been on, super physiological doses of testosterone, and you compare, and they're doing the same program as you for a year, and you compare them to someone like me who's taking rhodiola, cordyceps, nettle root, that person on supernatural levels of testosterone is going to be way bigger, have way more strength than me, and probably be able to train more frequently. But if they're on the same program as me, their body's way more sensitive to every dose of training stimulus. So they're going to be way bigger than me, way muscular than me, probably feel way less beat up by the training than me, and have better results, even on identical programs, because steroids and PEDs are not in anywhere near the same thing as fucking tonic herbs, man. But at the same time, if you take their mental state, you take their impulsivity, you'd probably maybe do I don't know, you do blood work throughout the year and stuff like that. I mean, I don't know if supernatural testosterone levels are going to have as negative of effects as other things, you know, Anavar and whatever else, Tren or some bullshit, human growth hormone, which I hear is useless. But chances are my blood markers for health is going to be way better. Even if we have identical diets and training, probably my blood pressure, my lipid profile, blood glucose tolerance, and all these other things, and my sleep, all these things will probably be way better than someone who's on, let's just say, a mega stack of PEDs. Okay, let's just, whatever. I don't know enough about PEDs okay, but whatever. Okay, they may have better performance enhancement benefits, but their state of mind and all these other things may not be, you know, their health markers may not be anywhere near as good as mine. They're going to have to take other drugs to offset some of the blood pressure changes and other things. And I know of many people, I've had clients that were on TRT, mostly old men after the age of like 55 and whatnot. And a lot of them, they had like these weird like red blood cell disorders and things that happened. And it's like a really shaky thing where if you take too much or you don't take the right combination of, like, I guess, aromatase inhibitors and whatnot, then you could have really negative side effects, right? And so you have to monitor your shit really closely with blood tests and a doctor if you're going to be doing that. And for me, that's the whole reason why I'm like, no, I don't want to do PEDs or steroids. And for me, I'm really about, like, I like the feeling of training. So it's like, if I don't get as faster results as steroid users, I'm okay because I love training and I love the benefits I get, the inspiration and motivation, all these other things. I like the process of training. And not to say they don't, but I don't get gratification from faster results per se. And the other thing is I know a lot of natural powerlifters, at least strength trainees, that's what I'm interested in, who have gotten to like very high level, like 650 pound deadlifts at a low body weight and 600 pound squats, and I know for a fact that they're natural. And they've been telling me that they're thinking about taking the jump to TRT for a while, but they're still pushing it back. I know they're not on roids at all because I've been training with them since the start. And so for me, I understand that I can get to the levels of strength that I want to be. And the only reason I might take TRT or something, at one point when I'm like 60, maybe, whatever. The only reason why I would ever consider that is so that I can train more frequently, strength training, get, 900 pound deadlift or something, and also train jiu-jitsu without the fatigue interfering. However, the thing is, and that's the thing, it's like I don't think I need to do that shit. Because number one, I have a really good understanding of fatigue management principles, stimulus to fatigue ratio, how to manage my training and recovery to do this without getting on PEDs. The only thing is I will be able to get to the strength numbers I want to get to. I will be able to get definitely to a 600 pound deadlift. I'm literally 100 pounds away from that on my deadlift already. And I didn't even try to get the 500 pound deadlift. I did the minimum training dose protocol from Dr. Pack. If you don't know what that is, search it up, Iron Culture Podcast. And it's literally doing like one set of deadlifts per week. And my deadlift went from 455 to 495 within like a month of doing that, which is crazy. So anyway, all I'm saying is like I'm not that far away from getting to where I want to be strength-wise naturally, as long as I'm programming right. Literally the only reason why I'm not there is because I'm trying to train jiu-jitsu and strength simultaneously, and I haven't really tried yet. So, like, for the strength levels. But anyway, naturally I'll be able to get to where I want. So why the fuck am I going to get on roid? It's just going to take me longer. If I hop on some TRT, and this is what I've heard is like, you'll get 100-pound bump in like a couple of months on your lifts, from what I heard. The difference is not significant enough to justify it unless you're planning on like competing in elite level competition against other steroid users. So, yeah, I mean, I feel like people who say shit like that, just get on steroids, bro. Like, at that point, you should just get on roids. And they get all pissy with me when I say, bro, that's a stupid statement. They have made no logical explanation at all. Block me. They're skinnier. That guy was more ripped than me, but he was skinny. He's like 159 pounds from what I saw. And looks like he's only been training like a year or two. And, you know, like I've been training like 10 years and bigger, stronger than him. And I haven't really even tried. And he's probably a gear user. So it's like, people are crazy, man. I've put more thought into this than he has. So, anyway. So, yeah. So, I'm going to make a separate video now where I talk about the gray line. Or the gray, like, between what is natural versus what's enhanced. Because that's a whole nother discussion, okay? To me, the real conversation is, are you taking pharmacologic, you know, experimental substances and drugs and things, including SARMs and freaking pro-hormones and all these other things, are you and whatnot? Are you taking those things versus are you taking, you know, I'm taking what, creatine, caffeine, L-tyrosine, things that are not natural substances per se, that have very real, you know, performance-enhancing benefits. And if you take them away from your routine for a while, the benefits, you know, the gains that you made on them will go away in some way, shape, or form. Anyway, I'm going to make another video about that. So leave a question, comments down below, and I'll talk to y'all next time.